and she got a 2.5% increase, first increase since the year 2000. There's been only one increase since 1985, but that got caught in a buzzsaw. So if you could just talk, okay, yeah. So if you could just comment on that. And she did an amazing thing on the opt-out, where women get out of prison and they're denied TANF for their lifetime. There's a lifetime limit. She got that through rehab and social services unanimously, even though you had some of the most conservative senators in the history of Virginia on that committee, and she even got them to vote for it. So she's really a fighter for children. So could you comment on those two bills and what the possibilities are next year?
I will. You know, the 2.5% increase stayed in the budget all the way through the 11th hour of the conference committee negotiations, and the only reason it was pulled out was because no other program was getting an increase. Even though the dollars to provide that 2.5% were federal dollars. They were unexpended TANF money, which that program's temporary assistance to needy families. So they were federal dollars, but it just came out at the very last minute because somebody said, oh, there's an increase. We don't want that, and they didn't think thoroughly about where it was coming from. So we're going to go back at it, and I think we'll have some success because it made it so far this last year. And I am going to put in again the bill to remove the ban for folks who, and it's primarily women, who've been convicted on drug usage, and they're banned for life from receiving TANF money, and yet they have families to provide for, and of course they're not doing jail time. They've already done their jail time. They're trying to reintegrate. So we're going to try again, and thanks to John's hard work, we have a patron in the House, actually Delegate Orrick, who is a good one to have because he chairs Health Institutions and Welfare. So we're going to try again. And but these programs are part of that whole income inequality conversation. So as you can see, we're trying to get to our goal through lots of different avenues, but we're all with you. All the lawmakers here are working very hard to try to narrow that income inequality gap. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Senator Favola. Delegate Plum, you didn't know that you were going to be called on, but would you like to say a few words? I think it's appropriate that you talk about the earned income tax credit because we appreciate your patroning that.
Hello, everyone. I first thought I was not going to be able to be here today because of a schedule conflict, so I was delighted when it changed and I was able to join you. You know, I'm the longest serving member of the House of Delegates. And people say to me, how could you serve in the Virginia House of Delegates so long? And the answer is you. You who are committed to human service kinds of issues, you who are so concerned about your neighbor, you who work so hard on these kind of things, you make my life easy, relatively speaking. It's because of your support and the kind of things that you think we ought to be doing in the legislature that keeps me there and keeping me motivated. I'm honored to be here today. Sister Simone, I'm one of your followers. I read you every day on Facebook. I keep up with what you do. I think the work that you're doing is incredible. We need more people bringing the common sense direct address to people. And ladies and gentlemen, while I appreciate being here and I appreciate the fact that when you come to Richmond, you come to see me, please, though, add to your list those legislators who aren't with us, those legislators who haven't been voting with us. You've got to add them to the list. The conversations have to start. Believe it or not, and I appreciate your comments today, you remind me that they are God's people also. They have a perspective, and we have to come to understand it. We have to come to some common understanding. The Virginia House of Delegates is not unlike the House of Representatives. There are three parties: Democrats, Republicans, and Tea Party. And right now, the Tea Party calls all the shots on the Speaker and on the House Republican majority. So we've got to confront members who I know are reasonable people otherwise, but find themselves now in this conflict of they're concerned about a Republican primary challenge from a Tea Party person. We got to confront them with what's the right and wrong of what we're doing, and not let them be able to do kinds of things like kill Medicaid expansion and walk away. We can't let them walk away from that. We've got to hold them accountable. So I invite you, when you go back to your neighborhoods and so on, is to find reasons to have a conversation, to show up at their events, to invite them to your events, to make sure that conversation goes on. Because in order to have success, the circle has to get bigger than us here. It has to be expanded, and we have to do that. I will have a minimum wage bill in again this year also. I also have a earned income tax credit bill in. Right now, you can get an earned income tax credit if in fact you have income. But if you qualify for an earned income tax credit, you don't have enough income to make that worthwhile, this would make the bill, as it is in many states, where you would actually get a payment. You'd actually get money for the credit. So we'll continue to work on that. God bless you for what you do. You're a great inspiration to me. I appreciate so much the fact that you're out there. And do look out those other folks. I grew up in the Valley of Virginia, not near Southwest Virginia, but I visited Wise County and Buchanan and the other counties there. It's a hard-pressed area. Folks there are in dire need. One would have thought that the 60-minute program would have been enough to inspire the House of Delegates to vote for Medicaid expansion. Wouldn't you think that would be true? We'll continue to work on that and bring that message home. But in the meantime, God bless you all for what you're doing in the counties. Thank you.
I begged John just to do a commercial. We've been sitting here a long time without a commercial, so you need one. What I want to do is to pick up on the issue of taxes, because we know we need a conversation in our nation about the responsible investment in our society. The Reagan phenomenon made it a burden to pay taxes. Yeah. Excuse me, this is how we invest in what we care about. It is a moral choice. It is our patriotic responsibility. So we have two programs. Thanks for your applause, that's nice. But we have two programs. One is April 15th, get ready for it. April 15th, we're going to have our second annual Taxpayer Pride Day, where we invite everybody to send in a photo of themselves with their favorite government service that they like paying taxes for. Because we've got to change the mentality. The fact is, our taxes pay for what we care about. And that's it. So that's number one. That's kind of the fun one. The second one is we have a 6-part program called We the Taxpayer. And it's geared for groups to have conversations about the role of taxes and the faith dimension. And we've tested it in the Christian, Jewish, and Muslim communities so that everyone can have conversations about what taxes are and what are our values and why we pay taxes as a faithful response to what's needed. It's trying to get at this idea of getting people together who don't necessarily talk to themselves, but talk about going forward. And the last piece is you've got to look at our nunsonthebus.org website and look at the vote, get out the vote video that we have up right now, because it is just too hysterical. It will lift your spirits. It's totally beyond the beyond. And show it to your millennials, you know, your 20-somethings, because they can explain to you what the music's about. But it is totally. Thank you.
I'm looking for George Barker, Senator Barker. I guess he's not here. Governor McAuliffe had signed the shared work bill that we worked on for 3 years. And since the senator isn't here, somebody that was very instrumental in his guidance and advice is David Balducci. If you'd say a couple words on behalf of George, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.